Hello everybody and welcome to the bank management course. First of all, in order to know what we'll be talking about in today's course, you need to know the concept of MoneyWise, which is fully related to the banking basics, and that will be defined as a joint financial education project of One Consumer Action and Capital One. So in today's course, Banking Basics, we'll be learning to understand the personal banking services and how they can benefit us. And then moving on to our objectives, which what we'll be learning about through the whole course. First of all, the difference between banks and credit unions and what are each, and how to select a financial institution, how to open an account, how to keep account costs down. Lastly, we'll be talking about how to get more interest in your savings. And now we'll be proceeding to explain some of the advantages of checking and savings account. So, the advantages of checking and savings accounts are, first of all, your money is safe and secured. Second, each account is insured by some kind of an insurance contract that is agreed upon from both parties, the insured and the insurer. And then, checking account records provide proof that you paid bills and help you keep track of spending. So, one of the advantages of checking accounts, it does have a history and a proof, or you can call it evidence, that there are paid bills that you paid in the past, and it helps you keep track of whatever you're spending. So it's some kind of a history. 4. Money in savings account earns interest to help it grow. 5. And last, less expensive than check cashing, stores, and money orders. Banks and credit unions. What is the main difference between a bank and a credit union? First of all, the bank are financial institutions that take deposits and accept loans, as well as it engages in lending and operate for a profit, of course. Banks as well offer checking and savings accounts, which we've talked about in the previous slides, to the general public. And credit unions. Credit unions are financial cooperatives that are owned by and serve individuals with a common affiliation. For example, workplace, church, employees union, neighborhood. And a great example of credit unions that will be the syndicate. Here in Egypt, there is the engineering syndicate, there is the commerce syndicate, are some kind of credit unions where you will be paying some kind of, say, premium as a subscription every month or however you agreed on. And at the end of your work time, you'll be getting a pension. And there's also other services that has been offered for the members. And as it's been said in the last point, credit unions offer checking and savings accounts to members and members only of the credit unions. And that's what makes it exclusive. Account verification services. So how do banks and credit unions learn or know how you have handled your accounts in the past? And that will be by the account verification services. One of the account on the main or major account verification service, that will be ChexSystems, and it is a major national account verification company which helps you apply for a new checking account. Banks and credit unions, that has been used by banks and credit unions to search for your name in the ChexSystems database. So ChexSystems will be used as a database for banks and credit unions so they can check up on individual accounts. So if you ever abandoned an account leaving a negative balance, for example, you're probably listed in this database. ChexSystems records. So what does ChexSystems record? First of all, it records reports about overdrafts or closed accounts remain in your file for 5 years. You can get a free copy of your report by contacting ChexSystems at www.consumerdebit.com, which means that it serves online as well. And you have the right to dispute inaccurate information in your account verification report. So whenever an individual's checking their account online or in the ChexSystems from the ChexSystems records, and then they figured and found out that there is some kind of a misdemeaning, there's some kind of a misplacement, misinformation, they do have the right to dispute and disagree about this information, and it will be further investigated. So, as the ChexSystems, there are rights that you do have as a consumer. So you can get a free copy of your ChexSystem report if, number one, you have been denied an account in the past 60 days because of information listed in ChexSystems, which means is like if you went to a bank or a credit union or a company and they've checked your account and ChexSystems reported that the misreported or like misunderstood and misinformation in your account, and it kept your account on hold for at least 60 days, then yes, you can get a free copy of your ChexSystems report because that was ChexSystems' mistake to begin with. The second part where you can get a free report, your checks were stolen and used by an imposter or an identity theft. So you are the victim of banking or account fraud. So you can get a copy anytime for $10. But if you want to get it for free, then you gotta be checked out with those 2 points we've got. Okay, don't get discouraged. Which means is, if you try to open a new checking account and you are turned down, rejected by a bank or credit union because, let's say, your past account history, depending on the database information that's been collected, so don't give up. Because different banks and credit unions, they do have different requirements, which means some of them do have different policies, different rules, so you might be accepted on others. So you have to shop around or just go around a little bit until you get accepted. ChexSystems Sample Report. There's a lot of categories in the ChexSystems Sample Report, including reported information, driver's license validation, driver's license verification, consumer-initiated inquiries, retail information, and checking printing order history. What are the things that you can do with a checking account? What does checking accounts allow you to do? First of all, it allows you to pay bills with checks or online bill pay, get cash, transfer your money, and make purchases using your debit card. Second, accessing your checking account, for example, at an ATM or a bank branch on your computer using the online banking techniques, or by phone or using a data-ready mobile device, which is mobile banking or applications. Banking checking online. First of all, it's also known as the internet banking. It is via a secure website operated by your financial institution or via an app or an application. It pays bills, view transactions, transfer funds between accounts, and also its benefits. It's convenient, which means you can use it anywhere, and it's low or no fees. Quick access to information, because all the information is conveniently, whatever if it's online banking or mobile banking, you can access it at any time, at anywhere. And savings on postage and checks. So you got a history of all the transactions and operations that have been made, but may still need to visit an ATM every once in a while. Safe internet banking. So first of all, you have to make sure that the institution that you're dealing with is legitimate. By all means, it is illegal and verified institution. Second, create a strong password, preventing imposters and identity theft. Keep your ID and password private all the time. Don't share it with anybody. Don't fall for phishing scams. There's so many phishing scams online on the internet, or even using SMSs. People trying to grab your username, your passwords, using information about your individual. Be careful when you're using public wireless network, which is Wi-Fi or shared computers, as well as monitor account activity regularly on a daily basis. Keeping checking account fees in check. Shop around for free or low-cost checking accounts, which is electronic accounts, electronic transfer accounts, or the ETAs, basic or also known as lifeline accounts, low-cost accounts for seniors or students. Debit cards. So you can use your debit card in these ways. First of all, you can enter your personal identification number or the PIN number at an ATM or at a retailer's point of sale or the POS terminal. Sign a receipt. Swipe without signature or PIN on the purchases under $25 at some stores. So, let's assume that your debit card is lost or stolen. First, you have to take some measures, including you have to alert your bank or credit union as soon as possible. The longer you wait, the more money you might be responsible for. Let's say an authorized person uses your card to buy things. So, why it is important to enter your checks and debit transactions in your account register? Why people should keep a record of their transactions? So that they don't forget checks, cash withdrawals, and purchases with their debit card. So let's assume that you forgot to record a transaction. It could overdraw your account, which means that you have, let's say, bought something with a cost higher than whatever the amount you have in your account, but because you didn't check, then you do have an overdraw in your account. This could lead to a fee for non-sufficient funds. You can be paid a penalty, being charged to your account, of course. So that you know how much money you have in your account, so that you can be able to track your spending and stick to your budget. Savings account. How does saving account is different from a checking account? Starting with interest. What is interest? First of all, interest is the cost of borrowing money. So when a bank or a credit union, let's say, gives you a loan, you pay interest to them because you are technically borrowing their money and using it, and they are using your money as well. When you keep your savings in a bank and credit union, they pay interest to you. So that's what I've been saying in the previous point. So if the bank giving you money, that means that you're borrowing from them. So you have to pay them interest on how much you're paying or taking from them as a loan. However, if it's in the other way, in the opposite way, you're the one who's saving money and the bank is using your money to give it to loans to others, then the bank will be paying you interest. APR, or annual percentage rate, is the annual amount of interest expressed as a percentage of the amount loaned or borrowed. So there are two types of interest, starting with simple interest. Simple interest means that you can only earn interest in your initial or one deposit. However, the second type is compound interest, which means that it allows you to earn interest not only on your initial deposit, as in the simple interest case, but also on the interest you earn as you go along the way. So it's compounded. Simple interest. Okay, let's assume that $100 on deposit for 10 years at a 1% annual percentage rate would earn $10 in interest. Let's take that to the compound interest case. It's the same exact deposit, but compounded monthly. it would earn $10.51. So 51 cents more or additional because of the compound. So compound earns more, especially if you have or you saved regularly. We have reached to the second half of our course where we'll be discussing how to earn more interest, safe deposit box, choosing and opening an account, managing your checking account, and how to resolve any issues with your account. So there are the certificates of deposits, or the CODs. What are the certificate of deposit? Certificate of deposit, or CD, is a kind of savings account in which you leave your money on deposit for a set period of time in order to earn interest. The longer the term of your certificate of deposit, the higher your interest rate will be and the higher you will earn. If you withdraw your money before, let's say, the term ends or the period ends, you will lose interest and might have to pay a penalty fee. What are the safe deposit boxes? And what are some things that you might keep in a safe deposit box? So what are the things that you can keep in a safe deposit box? Copies of insurance policies, birth, marriage, and death certificates, mortgages, leases, and other important contracts, stock and bond certificates and certificate of deposits, valuable jewelry. So, what should you not keep in a safe deposit box? So, what you should not keep in a safe deposit box would be the originals of your will and life insurance policies should not be kept in there, as well as the box would be sealed at the time of your death, and your survivors would need a court's permission to open it. So try not to keep any original certificates in the safe deposit box. So there are questions that you might need to ask when you are in your way of opening an account, such as, what is the minimum to open an account? What is the interest rate on the account? And is there a monthly fee? Is there any way to avoid monthly fees? Other questions as well would be, is there a maximum number of checks I can write each month? Is there a fee for using your ATMs? What happens if my balance falls below the minimum requirements? Consider these as tips when you're trying or opening a new account or an account. These are questions that you might have to ask. So what should you bring with you when you're opening a new account? First of all, of course, identification. So when you are going to a financial institution to open a new account, bring photo identification, like for example, driver's license, ID card or passport, proof of your address, such as utility bill, lease or electricity bill, your social security number for tax purposes. So we're going to go through a sample savings account application. So savings account applications include ownership, W-9 certification, optimal services including ATM cards linking accounts, ATM fees, sign and date your application. So keeping your account straight. Once you have an account, write down and deduct in your check register the following: every check you write, every debit card transaction you make, ATM cash withdrawals, any bank fees you pay, any online transactions, any automatic payments or deductions, all deposits and credits. So how can you save money on account costs? Hey, so there are some ideas to keep your account costs down, including combine checking and saving balances to avoid monthly fees. Save on ATM fees by using your own bank's machines. If you can't avoid ATM fee, take out larger sums less frequently. Use direct deposits for your paycheck or government benefits check. Ask your local bank or credit union about accounts with free checks. Order from a reputable mail order company. Check with the Better Business Bureau before buying checks from a company you are not familiar with. Write down all transactions and reconcile your account so you don't overdraw your account and incur overdraft fees. So there are standard overdraft protection. First of all, your overdraft transaction is covered if you pay a fee. There is a separate fee for each overdraft transaction. You must give your permission, or it's called as opt-in, to allow overdrafts on debit card and ATM transactions. If you don't opt in, which as we said, giving your permission, you can't be charged, but your overdraft debit transactions will be declined or rejected. So there are overdraft protection plans, or plans that have been provided to protect from overdrafting. An optional bank service that the bank provides, it's called overdraft protection, which waives or removes overdraft fees. Also can work with a loan or line of credit or with your savings account. For the line of credit, you must have a good credit history. By all means, if you have borrowed money from companies or bank, your credit history must be straight. You must be not like paying all these money in their due dates, not after. You'll be charged small transaction fee when you overdraw your account. You have to pay interest on funds from the credit line when you use them. So, resolving problems, last but not least, mistakes happen. Bring issues or errors in your account or account statements to the attention of your bank or credit union. Don't ever delay. Waiting too long could make a situation way worse. So, in order to solve an account problem, you have to contact the financial institution as soon as you can, as well as write down the date of all calls and the names of the people who help you resolve the issue. Send a summary letter by registered mail, receipt requested, or by email to establish a paper trail on your problem and keep copies of the email. Offer a solution and a date by which you hope to resolve the issue. So, reaching to the point where you escalate your issue, you give your bank or credit union time to solve or report back to yourself on your problem. If you're not able to resolve your issue with the bank or the credit union you're dealing with after reasonable time, you can contact the institution's regulator. And there's also the FDIC, their number. I don't think that we will use that. It's in the United States. However, that will be the end of the course. Thank you so much.